Dancing in. Yeah,
We got the
can you
motion.
tell I've got mad dad dance skills? I'm teaching the next generation how to do that.
You are too, actually. This is your practice run, isn't it? If you can pass
Yeah,
it here, Freya will be all right with it.
yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Katrina?
Good. Good. I'm gonna have to get some dancing shoes on soon, I think. Welcome to the Social Butterfly, where we go live weekly, talking about all things business. We're unpacking everything to do with social media marketing, systems, sales, and everything else in between. Probably some mindset thrown in there, some getting it done, and then how to sort of step up when it's hard to get it done. There's a lot in business to sort of keep throwing ourselves at. So I am Katrina from Butterfly Media, and this is the Social Butterfly. And I am joined by Michael Clift, my business coach from Venture Cultivation Coaching. And he is, just lost his screen, right? Michael is mastering chaos to accelerate profits and free you from your business. Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
You have the best answers.
I try. I try.
Yeah. You're the best answers. Today we have been talking about content, social media, and social marketing, or digital marketing with a focus on social media. And we've been looking at the 4 C's around community, content, connecting, and closing. And today we are looking at what are we doing? We're looking at connecting, and that's all about DMs. Getting into the DMs, getting into connection online, starting to talk to people online, and just the power behind it. A lot of people feel super nervous about it and a bit uncomfortable about getting into the DMs. So I thought we might crack this conversation open because I was probably one of them. So Michael, how do you feel about getting into the DMs and starting to talk to people, or what do you know about it and what's your thoughts on it?
Okay, where do I start? I
Yep.
think that, okay, so let's sort of take it back a step to when you're going from 0 to 1 million in revenue a year, right? There's two, like, product and service is important, but it's not as important as these two things, which is marketing and sales. Now, the marketing part is attracting people towards you. The sales part is having conversations, helping people decide whether you are the right fit to work together. You can't have sales if you don't have sales conversations. DMs are just sales conversations. And you don't have to treat them as sales conversations. It's building a relationship to understand whether you can help someone or not. And it's not always even that. It may be building a relationship with a joint venture partner. It could be just finding someone that's like-minded to build a relationship to become part of a community that's going to get you business in the future, help support you, help your growth, whatever that may be. The stigma that I feel, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, so you need to hop in whenever you need to hop in. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
So before I get into why people don't do DMs, I think the thing to remember is that people don't buy in public. So when you're doing your posts, you're engaging, you've got comments on there, people aren't there buying. They're there, like, you're rolling in and you're entertaining them, you're educating them, you're supporting them along their journey, you're sharing behind the scenes stuff, where really that's what we're out there doing in public. When people buy from you, they do that in private because they're not about to go and air all their dirty laundry on your post saying, I've got this problem and this is happening and I don't have any money and I can't spend time with my kids. I can't do, like, that's not going to happen on your post. So if you need to have that conversation to help someone, you're going to have it in private. Where I think the challenge comes in for most people for not doing DMs is it's very fear-based. And there's 3 things to it. The first one is the fear of rejection. What if someone says no? Which, okay, people are going to say no. Build a bridge, get over it. Number 2 is the fear of what if they say yes, fear of acceptance. Like, what do I do then? Like, do I send them an onboarding package? Do I ask for their credit card? Like, what do I do? Right? And part of that is you got to figure it out. And the third one is the fear of capability or imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I good enough, right? And that combination of those three things stops so many people from just shooting a quick message. And it's to the detriment not just of you and your own business, but it's also to the detriment of the person that you're sending the DM to. Because if you have something that could help them and change their life, or help their kid, like help them make more money so they can send their kids to a better school, or they can take a Friday afternoon off, or they can look after their sick parent, or whatever that may be, are you really doing the right thing by them if you're not sending that DM?
This is fantastic. Let's step it back a little bit, right? So when we're creating content, we're doing that to connect with people and, as you say, entertain, help, and attract. So when we are doing that, if we come from the intention of us, or we come from the perspective of us when we're going to make that, right, I think a lot of people think that that's doing the selling, and it's from there that we should be selling. And a lot of people I speak with find it difficult to understand that, why aren't people buying from me? I'm making all this content, right? Why am I getting any sales? And then when we say, let's jump into the DMs to take that process further, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to sell in there. I don't want to sell. I don't want to be the sales guy, right? I don't want to be the used car salesman, and I don't want to appear salesy, right? So there's that conversation going on where the minute we take it into private, the pressure's on, and we're like, now we've got to make a sale, when really we don't. All we've got to do is make an inquiry on someone, see how they're doing. So it's not even the full sale that happens inside the DMs. It's part of the incremental yeses that we get, isn't it? So what do you think about that? The whole stigma around going into the DMs is we feel like now we're salespeople. Do you think?
Why wouldn't you be a salesperson?
Why not? Indeed.
Like, what is wrong with being a salesperson? I think that I think car salesmen get a bad rap. Like, unfortunately, they've got that. And look, there are some dodgy ones that are out there, right? Like, I'm not saying that they're not, but not everyone is. And it's the people that are bad at sales that are the problem. And it's not even necessarily a fault. It's just they're uneducated around ways for people to purchase and how to approach different people with it. And what I would say is, for anyone that's struggling with sales, and I think I'm probably not going to go as hard as I did last podcast because we said my piece there. But what I would say is, here's the framework that I would encourage you to use. And it's, sales is just me understanding and connecting with that person to see if I'm the best fit to help them solve their problem. And then if they want my help with it. That's it.
Yep.
And I understand that people need to make money, and that's great, all of that stuff. Then we just throw extra offers in and ways, scarcity, and all that good jazz to push that forward, if they are right fit for us to help them to overcome any objections that they have. But it's not like, that's a different thing again. The actual sales process is just about, are we right fit to work together to help you solve your problem?
Okay, so let's talk about processes and sales processes, DM processes, what I call DM sequencing. So let's look at something that people might be able to work into, because, as you know, I'm a bit process driven when it comes to having things laid out. And what I find with sales, another thing that's really uncomfortable with it, is not only, when you initially start making the ask, but it's like, well, what's next? Where am I taking them? What's the process? Like, when I go and make a post, I know what that's like. Or when I go and do my business, I've got it so processed. I know how to take the next steps. I know where everything is. When you first start in socials, in sales and DMing it, you're like, what do I say? What's the first thing I say? Then what? Can't someone give me the map so I can go follow this process to get to the end, right? To get to the sale. There's that. So you want to talk into that? You want to talk into sequences, or more so just some processes around how long a DM should take, or what am I actually doing here, or how do I start? Those sorts of questions are really uncomfortable.
Why don't you talk about it? You've just had to go through it. Well, not just had to go through it, but you went through it. So why don't you talk about what you went through rather than me?
Wow. So I know the feeling. This is why I'm so big on DMs, right? Because I didn't do them for years and it almost cost me everything, right? And I didn't realize what I was sitting on. I just didn't realize it. So you ran the gauntlet to me and said, you put down the challenge and said, go into the DMs and start messaging people and see if we can't find. At that stage, we were looking for the top 3% that were ready to buy now. So I was going into the DMs to find buyers pretty quickly. It wasn't a nurture sequence. It was literally, do you want my thing, right? So it was pretty hard, as in it was a hard push, a hard sale, right? It wasn't like a, hey, thanks for following the content. It was a, hey, you want my thing, right? So it was really full on. And I was like really nervous. I didn't want to do it. It was the thing that I hadn't done. So I agonized over the message, what I was going to say, and agonized over it. And I started to send them out and I felt sick, right? And I was sending this on Facebook to my friends. I had 1,500 friends, right? So I don't know these people. I know 10, right? Mostly. So I had to sort of come to terms with that, right? The fact that I don't really know them. So this is actually okay, I think, right? It's not like I'm selling to my friends. I don't know them. So I started to send the messages out and I felt really, really bad, right? I just hit the first one, hit the second one. I was like, oh my God. And I got to 24. On the 24th one, I'm like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore, right? I don't like this at all. And then on the 25th one is when this beautiful message came back from Sam, who I was on her podcast yesterday, who said, you know, I get messages like this every day. This one was amazing. It was so real. Can we catch up? I want to put you in my little black book of content of people that I can share with my clients. And I'm like, oh, it was okay. It landed all right. It was fine. She didn't hate it. And it just changed the game for me. All of a sudden, then I was like, right, I just got the first yes. And you said to me, get 10 no's, right? When you've got 10 no's, then you can stop. Right? And I wasn't getting any. I was getting yeses. And I'm like, oh my God, where's the no's, right? So after that, I kept sending more. And from that, I got 75 leads in and 18 new clients in 6 weeks, right? So that was insane work pushing that through. But what I learned from that was people needed me to contact them in the DMs. They weren't seeing my content as much as I thought. The minute I got into the DMs, they all came over across and started looking at my content. My stories went from 20 views a day to 100 views a day behind Facebook, just because they're like, who's this chick email and messaging us? I'm going to go look at her work. So all of a sudden, I had vibrance around my work, right? And the work that I was putting out, comments, more online, just more conversations. But what I learned was there was people that were looking at my content, but when I went and asked them if they wanted it, they went, oh, actually, this is happening right now. I'll go check it out. Like one in particular was a sports club that was just changing the way they were running their organization. And she said, oh, we're just doing all these changes. I'll go and find out for you and come back. So if I hadn't have prodded her, she wouldn't have even thought about it. So it was literally just pushing the thinking around it. So I learned a lot. That, as you say, people shop in public and buy in private, right? And those private conversations is where the gold is at. And I did get a couple of people saying, you shouldn't really sell like this. And I'm like, that's super cool. You know, then I'd have a conversation around that. So I just found it to be wobbly.
But we didn't do a hard sell. This is like the thing around that is it wasn't a hard sell. Like just for anyone like that's listening that's going, okay, cool, she went, go buy my thing. It actually wasn't that just direct. It was, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're working on. This is who we're looking for. Do you know someone that could benefit from this?
Yeah.
So it gave the person the opportunity to pre-qualify themselves, but it wasn't a direct, do you want to sign up for social media?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So the first message is never a want to buy my thing. It's always a, do you know anyone that wants to buy my thing? And that's probably as hard as we go in the first message. But yeah, what I learned from that.
People pre-qualify themselves, right? Like we're just helping them make a decision.
Yeah, but what I learned was in the DMs is where it's at, right? The more you get in there, for so many reasons. Market research that happens in there, the yeses and nos and why. working out what your messaging is and working out how long it's until you're going to message again, or what that sequence is. Like, I didn't know. I had a first message and I'm like, what am I going to say now? And I'm like, oh, this might make sense, this might not. And I tweaked it and tried to work it out to the point where I got it down to, it's probably going to look like a 5-part sequence if I go with this. And then I can go back and talk to these people later. But the thing that was wobbly about it was I didn't have a process that I would normally like. And I'm doing it now and I still don't have one. And it's like, the thing with sales is you never know how it's going to go, right? You never know how someone's going to reply. You never know what they're going to say. You can have an idea. Once you've done it enough, you can get to that point. When you first start out, it's like, you're just not going to know. And as you said, let's just see what works. Let's just try something and see what works. And then you start to build out a system.
And look, that like, you can adopt other people's systems, and like, there will be a way that works consistently from a point of view of, okay, this is how we start the conversation. Then this is how we take it to the next step by asking key questions. And if they identify with these problems, then we take it to this part. And then we're off it. Like, generally the best way to then is offer them some form of like, come along to a webinar, or here's this free thing, or like something, so that they can engage with what you're doing. Because what happens when we're doing outreach is, a lot of the time when we look at the buyer's journey, we're hitting people when they're in their awareness phase, heading towards consideration phase. So they're just understanding that they've got a problem and they're trying to consider what to do, what's the solution that they need. So most of the time they're in that kind of element. So what we are doing as we talk to them and we're building that relationship with them in there, and we're putting out what we're doing, is we're helping them move from the consideration phase to where they're going to make a decision.
Yeah, completely. It's decision phase.
So the problem that so I just want to just get straight into what I see that's bad, because I reckon let's just roll into that, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
And this is from my personal DMs. So
okay.
I'm not gonna call anyone out, but if anyone watches this and they have sent me a DM like this, go listen to everything that I've said and then send me a DM. So what happens in my DM is, I'm a business coach. Gross. No one likes business coaches. But anyway, I'm a business coach. And what happens is, business coaches are low hanging fruit. And the reason why business coaches are low hanging fruit is, your average business coach really struggles with sales and market for themselves. They might be able to help other people, but for themselves, they are in a world of hurt and they're trying to find the next client. Really, the coaching space, for whatever reason, people struggle with it. And which means that everyone makes the assumption that because you're in that space, you have the same problems, which may be a fair assumption. But if you don't have a conversation with someone first, you're going to put them off on the onset. So what happens is my DMs get hit with people saying, hey, you need this. Can we hop on a call?
Yeah, right.
And,
do you get that?
Yeah, all the time. And it's a lot of it is, I can get you like 100 appointments booked in.
I love that one.
You've seen my calendar, so you know that if I had 100 appointments, I would drown.
Totally, like, anyone would. It's a ridiculous.
Like, if someone told me that I could get me 20 appointments this month, I would drown. I don't, like, my calendar's packed. I'm in the process of getting everything off my plate. I don't have space for that. Like, but no one's taken the time to ask. They've made an assumption.
It was funny. I was literally on a sales call with a prospect last week, and we're talking about bringing in leads. And they said, so how many can you bring in? I go, well, that depends on what works for you. So for some people, 5 a month is enough, right? Because if they're good at closing and they close 1, that's all they need to close, right? So there's no use me sitting here going, I'll bring you in 30, because you don't need it. So it's literally that. And that happens when you ask questions instead of trying to sell on the first message. Yep. So sorry, keep going. So first one, find out, don't assume.
Yeah. So if you don't, like, if you're going to go and do something like that, the better approach is what we talked about before, which was coming in and going, okay, hey, Michael, I help people in this space. I know that you come across these kinds of people, if they need support X, Y, and Z, or if you know anyone that like is looking for this, I'm here. And if you need any help, hit me up, right? Like, it's very non-assuming. Don't rock into the DMs and ask about the weather. My friends don't talk to me about the weather. Why would you talk to me?
Do you get the weather as well?
Yeah, all sorts of things. What's the weather like in Western Australia? I'm like, I don't know. I'm in the office. I'm not even looking outside.
Yeah. We're so busy. Who knows? Isn't it dark again?
Yeah. Like, so for me, if someone actually took the time to go and find out who I am, what I'm about, and they came into my DMs and went, hey, I'm really passionate about helping small business owners build their business. This is what I'm doing. What's your thoughts? Is there anything that you think that I can do to help out small business owners? You will start a conversation very quickly. And
Totally.
start talking about what's going on. Like, and it's not that hard if you pay any attention to what I'm talking about to realize that that's what I'm about.
And so then that brings us back to a step back before the DMs, which is to go and check out your account, which is why social media is so powerful nowadays. So rather than cold calling on a door, hoping that you don't get it slammed in your face like the old days, right? I can go to your profile and figure out whether I should DM you or not, just by what's on there.
Yeah. And look, I'm not opposed to people taking their shot, but like at the same time, do it in a way that like you're asking for someone's time. So don't, like, two things. Firstly, if they don't respond in the way that you want, don't get upset, because that's just how it is, because you're asking for someone's time.
Nice.
And secondly is, if you're going to ask for someone's time, how are you adding value to them? Because everyone thinks that the money is the more important piece. It's not. Time is more valuable than money. So if you're like, I'm going to give you this free thing, it better be good, because that free thing costs time, and time is worth more than money.
Anything else?
Oh,
I'll
let you go. Okay. Oh, that I've seen out there. Well,
any of the don't do?
Don't send someone a poem and then get upset when they don't like it.
Oh, it's like back in the day. Don't tell a joke on social. You might not be funny. It's literally like, oh.
And that's not from my DMs. That's someone for DMs that we both mutually know, that I won't say who it is, or just because it might come back to the person who actually sent that thing. But like, they got really like, they sent this poem that was not really appropriate for what was happening.
Okay.
Not from a boy girl inappropriate kind of thing, but just like, it's not the time, it's not the space for that. And then they got really upset with the person when that didn't resonate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Again, I was having a conversation with a client last night about our perceptions on how things are received. Yep. And the conversation was around her just feeling some of the pushback that you can get from social media when you start to make a stand, and when you start to sort of go, okay, this is my business, this is where we're headed. And some people will come back and go, well, you can't do that, or you can do that, right? So you get this coming at you, and it galvanizes your conversation around what you can and can't do, right? So, we're talking about that feeling. So she's like, sometimes I get angry with them, right? Because I can see that what I've got is the answer. And I went, I know, right? You've got the thing that's going to help them, and they're either not hearing you, not receiving it, want to talk about something else. And it's a matter of allowing that, isn't it? It's a matter of not making them be what you need, instead seeing what they are. And it's really can be, especially when you're passionate about getting your result and it's not happening the way you want it to. It doesn't turn out the way
just
you want.
Because we have a belief doesn't mean it's our place to try and force our beliefs on someone else. That's how wars start.
Well, a very wise coach of mine once said, and I love this because I use this every day, as I use this one every day. Don't make the buying decision for them, right? Yeah. That changed my whole life. right? That changed my whole life. Every time I go to send a DM, I'd overthink it, go, oh, they probably won't want it, or they're probably not that person, or maybe not. And you're like, don't make the buying decision for them. Just send a message. And I'm like, okay. And as usual, you were right. And they would come back, and people that I didn't think were going to buy bought. Right. So there's that element. So it's take away your own beliefs and just do the thing. Just send the message.
Well, it's okay to have beliefs, but like the making the buying decision for someone is we're just judging someone based off of what we can see. Well, what we can see is just the external stuff. We don't know what's going on inside. We don't know what available resources like we're not like for the most part until we're working with like in our industries until we're working with someone closely we don't actually know the ins and outs of the business and I see inside a lot of businesses and what you see on the outside to what is happening in the inside is two very different things.
Yeah. Duct tape and chicken
both,
wire.
both in a positive way and a negative way. So it's not just there's terrible things happening in the background. There's a lot of things that you just don't see that are going really well because they're going really well. So there's no reason to see it. It just works.
Yeah, you don't see all the pile of goodness that you're sitting on sometimes. All right, so that's what not to do. Don't send messages that assume a result or telling people what they need without asking them. So what should we do?
What could we do?
Okay. What could
let's not tell anyone what to do. That's like this is one that we're like my belief is that if you have something that can help someone out and you're not going to do it, you're being selfish. That's just the way that I feel about it. Jay Abrams, yeah, we were talking about him the other day. I actually need to send you that podcast episode. One of the things that I started listening to him a few years ago. One of the things that really resonated from me is he's talking about preeminence and where like you're standing out in the marketplace as the only for people. Off the back of that, he talks about that if you can help someone improve their life and you have what they need to do that, you have a moral obligation to get out there and do it. And I absolutely love that. And whenever someone says to me, and like I say this to all my clients, I say this to people in the street, if they talk to me about it, I'm like, just go out and help people. That's like, that is a belief that I have is if you just get out there and help people, no one's going to be upset. And if they are, it doesn't matter. You just go, okay, cool. It's not for you. That's okay. Keep moving.
Okay. So this is overcoming fear, right? A fear of sales, that lines, that intention. So I'm trying to move it around because I end up in the fear space and the scarcity space sometimes. So I'm like, okay, I'm out doing a push on sales. So my goal is to make sales rather than make impact when I'm coming from this fear base, right? And I think that this could be for some people. So this is why I'm sharing this, right? Because we go out and we're like, oh, I don't want to make the ask because I don't want to be that person or I don't want to be salesy. And because it's coming from what we need rather than what they need, right? And to make that shift is difficult when you're in it, right? So if we are fearful of sending that first message to someone, it's because we're coming from what we need rather than how we could help them. Am I hearing that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Can I talk about what I would do?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's say that in fact, I had this conversation with a client this week. So I'm just going to use that example for transparency. I'm going to change the numbers. I'm not going to tell you what client it is.
Okay.
Right. So they came to we were talking. When we talk about wins, challenges. One of their challenges was, for whatever reason, their finances they had some challenges, right, through their business. And they're like, we need to bring in cash. This is a common thing that happens for all business owners, right? We hit a wall and we're like, oh, shit, these payments haven't come through for a client. That was not their issue, but it's a common one, so I'm using it. There's suddenly I need to go purchase stock, or I've got to get this software, or I've got to employ these people to get this thing done for us, and we didn't account for that. I suddenly need to my laptop and this and this and this died, and I'm going to replace that, and I didn't account for that, and I've got this going on. A client needs 10K of laptops or something like that, if you're an IT service provider, I've got to send them out, but we have to pay for them first, and then they have 60 days to. So anyway, cash problem.
Yeah. Cash flow,
so
right?
we identify the problems. Like, okay, cool, we got 30 days, we need to get 10K, right? Let's say that we sell something for, just call it 2K to keep it nice and easy. So we only need 5 people. So it becomes, the target is 5. Wasn't that convenient?
Wasn't that convenient?
So we got 30 days.
We're getting the t-shirt.
So what I would then do is go, okay, we got 30 days. It's effectively 4 weeks. Every week the target is 5. I need to get 5 clients in a week. And the reason why we're setting it as that is because we want to end up with 5 in the 30 days. But what we actually want to be doing is we want to be taking the steps that are going to get us 5 clients in a week every single day, because by the end of those 4 weeks, then we're actually, the problem is if we do the steps that get us 5 clients in 30 days, we're going to have some roadblocks. We're probably not going to have enough conversations in the space of the time. We're going to have challenges that come up, and we're probably going to get 3 or 4, and then we're still short. So what I've just done is I've identified the revenue that we need, the target of what we need to achieve that revenue, and then I'm looking at the steps. Okay, so I know that 3% of people are ready to buy right now, and I need 5, right? So it means that if 3% of people are ready to buy, 3 people in 100, I probably need to talk to 200 people. And I need to do that in a week. So that means I need to talk to 40 people in a 5-day week. I need to talk to 40 people every day. So I've got time to, from that particular point of view, say, all right, so whether that's 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that is, I need to talk about what am I not doing, so that I've for that to go do it. And then I'm like, okay, what am I talking about? And how I would then do it is just simply go out there and go, hey guys, I've got this thing. Don't need to talk about what it is. This is who it's for. This is what it does for them. Do you know someone who could benefit? And then I would just go and send out those, because then you're not actually going and selling to someone. You've got a thing that will help someone, and you're going and you're sending out that message.
So much to say there. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay.
So
you go.
Yeah. So what we've done is, instead of being out there going, I've got to get into the DMs because that's where it's at, now there's a goal and a focus on the why. So now we understand what our intention is when we're out in the DMs, right? So everyone's, saying, well, a lot of us are saying get into the DMs, but now we've got a reason. So now we've got a cash flow issue. We need to make 10K in 30 days with 5 clients. Now let's bring it back and go into the DMs that way, right, to get the goal. With some terminology around, hey guys, we've got this thing. It's does this. Do you know anyone? So we're not actually hard selling. We're soft. We're warm DMing to find out whether people know anyone, and that's going to start to get us our 40 people a day to talk to. Because if you go from 0, the reason you may have a cash flow problem is you might not be doing much of this. So to get to 40 in a day would seem like a big leap. But if you're sending out 40 DMs, it's all right. But once you bring that down, so still the reason you're sending out the DMs is still because you need the cash, not because you want the impact. So how do we change that thinking around that position?
Give me an item, I'll give you the wording.
No, it's not so much the
tell
wording.
me what we're selling. No, I'll give you the whole lot. Just give me something, and then I'll talk about it. Like, so that I'm talking about an actual thing. I can make something up, but if you give me something, then I've made it up based off of someone else's thing as opposed to something else.
All right. So I have a client that has a program, and she needs to put 8 people into it by April.
What program is it?
Yep.
No, don't just make up a program.
Yeah.
Are we? All right, I'm making up a program.
You make up a program.
All right, cool. So, yeah. So we have
We need to sell 8 widgets to the widget company so that they can help people.
Nobody likes all right, I'm going to talk about a program. I want to put for me 8 people in a program by April.
Yep.
That's what I want to do. All right, cool. I'm legitimately doing this.
Me too.
I'm just using it as an excuse, right? Anyway, so here's my thing is I've decided I need cash, and that is okay, because for you to help other people, you actually need to look after yourself. So firstly, there's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly okay. The second part is I know that my program can help people. Like legitimately, someone that comes into that program, we're going to double their revenue. So I know, like, there's not a question about that. I know that. So I can get cash and make impact. So it's like, firstly, I should be talking to people about it anyway, and then like I can just align those two things, and it's more about just getting out there and having that conversation. I'm not trying to take money off people. I'm just helping them grow their business. And we had this conversation about what I did this morning, just like before we went live. So I messaged someone that I know last night and said, "Hey, how are you? We need to catch up." And I have a relationship with them, so like that's why there's that part of it. And I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to help 7 businesses double their revenue. They need to be doing 6 figures to be able to be a part of it. Do you know anyone that want to come and hop in?"
Yep.
And their response back was, and they sent me a voice message, "Hey, yeah, I'd love to catch up. We definitely need to talk about things. There's so much stuff that's going on in my business. I've seen you've got heaps of stuff that's going on that I'm really interested in talking to you about. I'd love to join your program. I'm super busy right now, so it's probably not for me at this point, but I do want to come on in the future. However, I do know 3 people that I think that could probably benefit from that. Let's catch up tomorrow."
So that's how you do it.
Yeah, and so from that point of view, I've got the impact because I know that I can help people. Right? Like I'm helping people every day, and we're getting the results. So it's not like that's not in question. The cash side of things, to join my program, I'll put the real figure out there. It's $1,000 a month. That's what it is to be a part of it, right? So if I needed to get, let's call it 10K, then I need 10 people, not 7 people, but like then it's 10 people. So I just need to go have more conversations. And the way that I'm in the process of putting it out there is, and I even put a post on Facebook about it just as a little like hand raising exercise, but I'm just having the conversation with, "Hey, I've got a new program. I've got a new program. I'm helping 7 business owners double their revenue. Do you know someone who benefits?" That is all I am asking.
So
very easy.
Back to our original process for people that are looking to get started in the DMs with something that could be around having to make money more so than, that being the main driver or cash flow. The first DM that they can send out to their network on Instagram and LinkedIn and their Facebook professional account would be, "Hey, I've got this thing. It does this thing. Do you know anyone?" That would be a really nice first DM to send out.
Yeah, well, the outcome is the important part. Like I'm not even talking about the program. I'm not giving them the details. I'm not going, what are we going through or anything like that. That is a distraction. This is what I'm helping people get.
So then the sequence, which I think is important to touch on when it comes to DMs, because it's so valuable and we haven't got there yet. I just would love to get there. Is that all right if we sort of move into?
Yeah, absolutely. You go.
So, we've got our 40 a day, let's say, and we're going to, if we really got to hit this figure, then we're going to send 40 messages a day, right? We're going to find the time, we're going to make it happen. So, we've got our 40 a day. Our first outreach is that question. Then we'll have a sequence or a bit of a process And again, it will formulate as you do this to get people down to a conversation where you can either jump on a call and let's talk about Rome, right? Where's Rome? All roads lead to Rome. Where is it? Is it a phone call? Predominantly, I would say in this position, in this stage, it is. You don't want people clicking links and filling in forms and all sorts of stuff. It's literally let's chat about it. So after that, I tend to look for signals or hand raises, like you say, which is sure, or, you know, maybe depending on the platform, they'll give you a heart or something like that, but something to say, yep, I've read it, tell me more. That's what we're looking for as the second part. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go into what do we do after that, right? So someone said, so, yep, I've got this thing. Do you know anybody that would like it? Your friend has said, let's meet for coffee. I've got 3 people that are interested, right? So obviously you just go and make that booking and catch up for coffee, get their email addresses or get a warm email introduction from her so that you can then follow up and take that on, right? But if she said, sure, tell me more inside the messages, we would do what? Tell her more.
Okay, cool. It depends. Yeah, it depends on how you've got it set up, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've just like literally done this last night. I've just put together a Google Doc that I can send to someone that just has the bullet points of this is what we're doing, and it starts off with I'm helping 7 business owners double their revenue. Well, actually, it's not even that. It's I'm doubling the revenue of 7 businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, here's a program. This is who it works for. This is what we're helping them overcome. And this is how they can join.
Okay.
But like, so from that point of view, I would send that and go, okay, here's the details for those people that you know. Can we either do an email introduction or can you link me up in the DMs?
Yeah, you definitely want that link, don't you? You don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say it's the person goes, hey, I would be really interested in that. I would be like, hey, yeah, awesome. Can we hop on a 15-minute?
Great. So it's literally a 3-step process.
Right. And we'll just see if you're right fit for it.
Yeah. And then that's the importance of getting in front of more people so that you don't have to sell the few that you're in front of. It's literally, let's just find out. And the pressure is slightly off because you're just having conversations back to that, right? So it could be almost a 3-part process at a bare minimum framework. There could be a couple of other conversations you might have to have in there depending on your flow, but it's literally, here's the thing. Do you know anyone? They say, yes, it's me. You say, great. Do you want a hand with it? Do you want to jump on a call? It could be that simple at a simple level. There's probably,
because I'm not trying to like put this out in any way that's advanced sales techniques or anything like that. I'm just trying to put it in a very easy form that anyone can go and do.
Yeah.
And you also, like, I do it in a very basic, easy way because I'm busy, don't have a huge amount of time. I will spend the time to go and talk to someone. But my main thing is when I'm selling something like this, I'm not actually selling it at $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's a 5K offer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that as a general rule, I wouldn't sell through the DM. So my whole goal, Rome, is get them on a 15-minute call.
Yeah.
And it's no different from anything else that I do. It's no different from my one-to-one coaching. It's no different to in July, we've got the mastermind program starts up in July. That all of that is going to be getting them on a call. So everything that I want to do is to get them on a 15-minute call. And it's not to waste it. Like, they'll walk away with stuff. So regardless of whether they're right fit or not, they are getting actionables that they can take away to grow their business. So I know I'm not wasting their time. I know I'm going to give them way more than 15 minutes worth of value out of it. So I don't have any barriers to getting them there.
So there's that too, isn't it? Your sales call could have them walk away with some really handy tips rather than nothing. One way or another.
Yeah.
One way or another, they're going to walk away with something just because of the conversation. You don't even have to set it up like that. It's just literally, am I helping you? Are you a good fit? No. Okay, let's go walk away with this, implement this for now. When you're ready, come back, or here's so-and-so that could help you. So yeah, ultimately it's moving the needle for people. So back to the DMs then. So it's literally maybe 3-part sequence at a minimum framework for an example like this that people could get started with. So it's literally a really soft outreach. I have this thing. It does this thing. Do you know anybody that wants it? That's it. It's a 3-line framework. And then from there, we wait and see what comes back. And depending on the answers, depends on where you take it. They'll be too busy now, not ready now, or know someone, or it's me. And from there, that's when you segment your funnel. But you don't need to do that just yet. Just, go for the easy one.
And this is obviously, for clarity, this is if someone needs to go and make money right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right?
that's why I say this particular example that we're talking about.
Yeah, because if you're at a different stage in your business, you may not be talking about that. One of the things that's on my list is to start a podcast, right? So the cat's out of the bag. It's going to be the Don't Be Shit podcast.
Is it?
Yeah. So
it's going to have a different color hat.
It's not. So anyway, that aside, so then the conversations that I'm having, everything is, hey, starting up this podcast, here's a link to it if you want to come check it out. That's it. I'm not if it's something that you're interested in, you maybe want to come on, hit me up, right? And then that's all I'm talking about, because then what happens is I'm growing a marketing asset for the future, and I'm giving people a place to speak. So there's benefit either way, right? I just wanted to clarify that, because there's going to be people who are like, oh, well, what if I'm not doing this? What if I'm doing that? What the example we were just talking about is, if you need money right now, that, and even for 2 million plus businesses that I'm working with, same thing.
Yep.
And it might not necessarily be you as the owner that's doing it, but we get someone to do it. This is what we're doing. We set them up and, hey, can you go do this?
Yep, that's fantastic. I hope that's helped a few people in relation to DMs and sequencing and the importance of it, and coming off the fear and into the serving, even when you've got cash, at your back going, we need, you've got to go get some cash in, and there's a bit of that pressure on, you can still serve with that pressure, and it's hard to come from that place when you've got that pressure. So it's just trying to set it aside to go and make that impact. So that's it for today, guys. So out of the 4 C's, which is community, content, connect, and close, this was connect, and this is all about connecting through DMs. So there is connecting on platform, which is all commenting and things like that, which is super powerful to bring in eyes on the prize. But when you're in there literally trying to bring people through so that you can help them and turn them into clients, the DMs is where it's at, and the PMs for social media, it's incredibly powerful. We've just talked about a 3-step process today on how to do it. And it's literally just, here's my thing. Here is the result or the benefit that it gives. Do you know anybody that wants it? So that's the first message. And from there, you can take it, you can see how it rolls. So I hope that's helped everybody in relation to DMs and getting over the fear of it. Michael, thank you for your insights on DMing and messaging and sales. It's been awesome having you on, as always. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to wrap it up and catch up next week, where we are going to talk about close, and we're just going to see what that actually looks like. So that's taking them to Rome. I like Rome being on the phone or on the Zoom. You can see people better. And then what to do if they're not quite ready. So this is a little bit around pipeline conversation and just understanding what a pipeline is and keeping them in there, and then perhaps swinging back around and what that messaging looks like if it's sitting there in someone's messenger and they haven't answered, and you come back and, as Michael says, hey, how you doing? Guess what they're going to see, right? So your offer has legs. So thank you, guys. If you've got any comments around DMs and all of those sort of conversations, please drop it in the comments section, because we do check that afterwards and always love a good chat. If you want to come on the Social Butterfly, please let us know. We'd love to have you talking about business and all sorts of fun things. Otherwise, have a great week out there. I look forward to seeing you in the DMs. But for now, Michael, see you next week.
See you next week.